Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 375 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you today live, as always, on YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. We've got a bit of an important perfume review today. I mean, they're all, of course, important, but this one has a sort of slightly greater significance in the perfume world. But I should start by saying, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. Please click on the little bell so that you get notifications about new videos. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. The comments, I can't even see who the first commenter was from. It's Rachel who says hello again. Then David says, hello, actually excited about this one. I've heard underwhelming reviews about Dior Riviera. And then Rich Mitch chips in with smelt it this week. It's rubbish, in my opinion. Angela says, happy to catch a live from the beginning. Gosh, yeah, I don't think you've managed a live for a while, Angela. Anyway, thank you very much. Whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording, please leave a question or a comment. I usually get round to them within about sort of a couple of days or so. Let me bring the comments back to, oh dear, have you all smelled this already? Pradeep says, Captain Kirk exploring new horizons of mediocrity, where no mediocrity has gone before. That's not my view, by the way. I will tell you my view in a moment. It seems like he's playing it safe, says David. Makeup Met Katia says, hello from the Netherlands. Hello. Chang says, we want to know what Chang says. Dior Riviera reminds me of Thé Matcha from Le Labo and Fig Infusion from Essential Parfum. Interesting. Tracy says, very excited to see this. Woozy says, Francis K's new Dior debut. Wonder what the direction is. The name had me confused for the longest time, says Rachel. Okay. We need to slow down. Oh dear, Pradeep is really going for it. Right. So why is this a big deal? Most of you watching will know why this is a big deal. But again, we like contextualizing things here. It's a big deal because, what was it, about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, Francis Kurkdjian was announced as the new in-house perfumer at Christian Dior. François Demachy left. He'd been at the helm for quite a while. And this is the first new bona fide Francis Kurkdjian release we were having from the brand. He did a kind of interimish new release. Was it last year? I can't even remember, when he gave us the decolorized Eau Noire, and then he also put the other two original colognes into a set. But this is the first Captain Kirk scent proper during his tenure as in-house perfumer, because of course it's not the first Francis Kurkdjian Dior scent, right? I mean, Eau Noire at least was one of them. Gavin says, I note you say Dior Riviera. I wonder how they think you're supposed. Yes, and I struggled with the name. It almost reminds me of Tobaccolor. I wonder if it's one of those names which works with a French accent best. And I will try. My French accent is dodgy, but I wonder if it's supposed to be like a sort of, Dior Riviera or Dior. I can't do those. There's too many of those R's in there. Dior Riviera. Doesn't work. But you can just imagine the sales assistants in France saying it beautifully. And then maybe the name makes a kind of sense. My knowledge of what happens in the haute couture world, certainly in the handbag world and in the shoe world, is not fantastic. But I think that the Dior Riviera name is something that Dior have used already, and somebody may correct me if I'm wrong, but have we already had some other products that have come out under that banner? Maybe handbags. Pradeep says, don't worry, they struggle here in France too. Oh, really? Okay. Rachel says, yes, it's been a line. Yeah, I thought it had. So it's kind of capitalizing on something that they've had before. Now, as I said it's been used in their makeup line, says SMC, thank you. As I said in the video that I did just a few minutes ago for the new Maison Francis Kurkdjian perfume, I have actually smelt this one already, and I've worn it because I wanted to give you more than just a first impression. Now, the fact that the first Captain Kirk release we're getting is from the exclusive collection, from the Collection Privée, I don't think is any surprise. I think we could have predicted that that's what was going to happen. I kind of hope we're going to get a new pillar soon. I wonder if it's going to be a new one for women, because of course Joy didn't quite happen, did it? I don't know how it's selling, or whether it sold well at all to start with. But yeah, I think we're going to need him to make his mark in some big way pretty soon. And you know, I don't get tons and tons of advance information from Dior, so for all I know, maybe there is something big in the pipeline before Christmas. And I'm really, really not hinting here. I genuinely do not know. Renaud Saint-Won says Aqua Riviera Forte was a better name. You can comment back to him. Nice to see your name pop up here, by the way, Renaud. Thanks for tuning in. Angie says, simultaneously too many R's and not enough R's. Yes, you're right, actually. You're right. And yeah, we need to smell it. We need to smell it. We need to bite the bullet and smell this thing. So there's the bottle. This is the 40 ml presentation. Okay. How many of you out there have already smelt this? Those of you who have commented, is it because you know what the smell is already? Right. Rachel says, I was hoping for an upgrade in quality. Well, I don't think it's quality that's the issue here, because I think for what it is, the quality is probably just fine. It's anyway. So you smell it. I'm just looking at the comments now. People are trying to get a conversation going with somebody else. What does Madame Persolaise think? Says Marie. This has got a very, very, very... Yeah, I like the fact that Marie is just going kind of like, no, give us the real deal. Madame Persolaise, regular viewers will know, really, really struggles with green notes. She has a big problem with green notes. And this, essentially, is a very strong fig perfume. And you have to like your fig, or your figs, in order to enjoy this. Is this a bridge of Ballade Sauvage and Eden Rock, says David Saint. I'd have to re-smell Ballade Sauvage. So yeah, I think that's the only answer I can give you at the moment, David. It's quite simple. What you get from the beginning is what you get all the way towards the end. And it starts off with this very, very realistic, very, very green fig, you know, not too earthy. It's like a fig carried on the wind. And it immediately made me think of something. Now, physical activity, exercise, all of that sort of thing is not something that comes kind of very, very easily to me, and not something that I perform very often. But I have occasionally been known to. Now, don't kind of have the lids of your heads blown off in surprise. I have occasionally been known to go for a run, or maybe I shouldn't even call it a run. Maybe I should just call it a jog. And there is one particular route that I always like doing when we're on holiday in the south of France. And there was one little bit, I mean, it's a beautiful route. I think, you know, whether you run or you walk. Marie is gasping. Don't gasp too much. There's one particular bit of the route that would always take me right past some fig trees growing in the restaurant, in the garden of a restaurant. And I would always wait for that moment when I'd be running past the fig trees, because I would just get immediately this intense whiff of green fig. And I remember sort of for the rest of the run, or not for the rest of the run, for a few of the sort of subsequent minutes, just kind of not being able to pay attention to the music pumping through my ears, and kind of thinking, what is it about fig that makes it fig? You know, it's something that smells, yes, green, but it's not pea-like. It's almost like it's quite sappy. It's quite stem-like. It's sort of got a woody feel to it. Maybe it's got a piney feel to it. Fig is really, really distinctively figgy. Rachel says aldehyde C18. You may well be right. I forget which one of the aldehydes also has got a kind of coconutty note to it, because I think I get a sort of coconutty-ish feel to fig as well. It's like fig is a sort of woody coconut in a way, so that it's less white and more brown. And it's that moment that this particular perfume made me think of. And I thought, gosh, well then in that sense, maybe it has actually achieved one thing that it set out to achieve, because this run that I'm talking to you about does take place on the French Riviera. And, there you go Dior Riviera. And there are so many perfumes out there that in the past have tried to capture the very, very, very particular essence of the air in that part of the world. And a lot of them haven't succeeded. Somebody mentioned Eden Rock already, and I don't think that particularly succeeded, because the air there's something about the heat of the air that brings out certain facets of the things that you smell. And the way that this fig has been conveyed, I think, is very, very accurate. Now, I think part of the appeal of this particular fig that I run past is that the smell, I get a quick burst of the smell, literally for no more than 3 seconds, because of course I'm running so fast, right? No, it's actually 2 minutes. I'm going at this snail's pace. And then the smell fades, and then all I have is the memory of that smell. This just keeps pushing the fig. And as I've been wearing it, I've been kind of thinking, okay, I get it. This is a fig. Maybe we need to move on to something else. And there is a kind of rosiness to it, maybe a kind of pink rosiness to it, that makes the fig more translucent, a little bit lighter. But it's fig. And so that means that I think you're either going to like it, or you're going to think, okay, thanks, Captain Kirk, for giving us this, but can you give us something a little bit different? Personally, maybe I wish that he could have gone, for a sort of more composed fig, in the sense of something a little bit more detailed, built something a bit more interesting up around the fig. But no, I think this is what he wanted to do, and it's interesting that he's chosen to do this, assuming that he chose to do it, okay? Because who knows how these things work at LVMH? Was it the marketing people who went to him and said, oh, that Dior Riviera name seemed to be doing quite well. Your next perfume's got to be something that can match the name Dior Riviera. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how those sorts of things go. But if we put that aside, I think it's interesting because Francis Kurkdjian is not a Côte d'Azur Riviera type personality, right? He's very, very, very Parisian. He brings that kind of urban metropolis type sensibility to things, a multicultural sensibility to things. And I know that since he's taken up the position at Dior, he's gone out of his way to be very, very, very respectful towards what has come before, and really kind of, almost going the extra mile and bending over backwards to pay homage to what has come before. And this feels like him sort of saying, okay, I'm going to start by paying homage and paying my respects almost to the playgrounds and the territories that have been so important to the Dior line in the past. So that kind of makes sense. But again, as with the MFK release that we talked about a few minutes ago, it does kind of make you think, oh, okay, stop teasing us, just give us the Francis Kurkdjian perfume. Gavin says, you were really making this perfume sound like the product of an algorithm. Oh, wow. Who knows? Who knows? How is this in comparison to Philosikos from Diptyque? That is a very, very good question and a very fair question, and I should have a better answer to it, but the only answer I can give you at the moment is that I have not smelled Philosikos for the longest time. Premier Figuier from L'Artisan Parfumeur is one that sticks in my mind, and I think from memory, Olivier Jacobetti's work there is a bit more interesting, because I think there's a bit more going on. Jonathan says, I was kindly invited to the Harrods launch of this earlier this week, but I couldn't make it. Oh, okay. Is it similar to Dior Dune pour Homme? Now, that's a good reference. Thank you, Alex. Not really, because what Olivier Crespe did in Dior Dune pour Homme is that, yes, he took greenness and figginess, but he wove it into a more layered, a more faceted, a more nuanced cologne type structure. No, this is fig. Now I have the press release, which feels like it's a little bit on the lengthy side, so I don't propose reading all of it. I deliberately have not glanced at it at all, even though I have, as I say, worn and smelt this before. So let us see what the press release says. Dior Riviera by Francis Kurkdjian. That's interesting. They're actually sort of saying that. It starts with a quote from him. The inspiration for the Dior Riviera fragrance came to me suddenly in Provence. in the midst of a field below the Col Noir estate. The southern sun was shining, the May roses were in bloom, and a warm breeze. Okay, and a warm breeze was blowing through the leaves of a majestic fig tree, my sole companion. Then I saw Persolaise running past the... Okay, this is interesting. This is fascinating. So yes, Captain Kirk, you and I both take fig on the air in the same way. This magical moment was seared into my memory, and in that very instant, the desire to create a perfume arose. Upon my return to Paris, a creative period began during which I shaped this love at first sight, crafting the contours of its olfactory silhouette and transforming the idea into my first fragrance for La Collection Privée. Dioriviera is a stunning, radiant composition. It is a casual, modern beauty with a sun-filled scent that conveys the love affair between Christian Dior and the French Riviera. Yeah, it probably does. So if we just carry on a little bit, there's a section called A Rendezvous with the South of France. At harvest time, immersed in a colourful carpet of petals swaying in the warm wind, the scent of the roses was irresistible, addictive, defined, and delicate. The wind danced with the blooms, carrying their sensual, gourmand scent and raising it up into the air to the point of saturation. However, another scent, persistent and smooth, stole in. It was triumphant and unexpected, contrasting and enveloping and caressing, bitter and heady. And actually, yeah, I haven't said the word bitter, have I? There is a bitterness to this, which is maybe its most interesting side, the thing that makes it, for me, a little bit harder to take. It was recognizable among all others. It was the scent of a majestic fig tree with its leaves warmed by the sun just behind the perfumer. Fig and rose, rose and fig. The duo took shape, natural, graceful, sunny and sensual. A desire arose with no aim or actual project yet. This persistent desire stayed with him like an imprint of the south of France that would accompany him for a very long time. And actually, yes, you know, it's an imprint that it's one of my chief olfactory memories of that bit of France as well. When I go on this stroll and go past the fig tree. What else can I tell you? I think we probably don't need to read that bit. Resulting from an olfactory impact from a dazzling sensory moment, Dioriviera was created, and from a kind of revelation that the south of France is an enchanted moment in time, coloured by festivities and friendship, trips along the corniche, and shared joy. Light on a face, laughter, dancing, and the sensual feel of bodies warmed by the sun. This is what Francis Kurkdjian wanted in his fragrance. He has in fact conveyed what Christian Dior sought in Provence, his favourite place and refuge of complete serenity. He sought a moment's pause and a breath of air, beautiful gardens and warm laughter, all myriad sources of inspiration to better begin work again in Paris, a certain idea of happiness, an art of living, I wonder if somebody's still watching, and an art of being. And again, you know, I can't argue with that. And there's another bit that I skipped here that says it's fig and rose, rose and fig. Work began to dress this olfactory pas de deux, and it is a duo. It makes me think a little bit of the other duo that we had, the sort of high-profile duo that we had a while ago from Frédéric Malle, for the Rose and Leather, composed by Jean-Claude Eleanor. Seems figurative, says Renaud Salmon. Yes. And yeah, and thank you for that word, actually. This is why I need to do these things live, okay? Because you prompt me with good words. It is figurative. In the same way that the Rose and Leather from Malle was figurative, this is a rose and fig. There's a kind of metallic aspect that's coming towards the forefront now as well. Oh, figurative. Oh, God, I'm being slow. Yes, very, very good. Oh, well done, Renaud. You've outdone yourself, Monsieur Salmon. Give yourself a pat on the back for that one. I was being so slow. I am so sorry. Yes, it is figurative. Can I trademark that one now? Spaced Out says, I'm cringing at these press releases. Is all that necessary? Let the fragrance speak for itself. Well, I don't mind that one. I mean, I don't. I have to say, I don't mind that one. At least every single thing that is in there makes sense in its own right, and you can kind of see where they're going with it. The penny dropped, says Sandy. Yes, the penny dropped for me. They should have named the perfume Figurative. That would have been a good name, actually. That would have been a really... So, oh my God, who's going to be the first person to trademark that name for a perfume? That's a good one. Okay, so yeah, it really, really, really kind of winds me up when people say it is what it is. That's becoming a very, very cliched, overused expression in the UK at the moment. But this is what it is. I have to say, though, the main thing that I will say in its defense is that as an attempt to capture the air and the atmosphere of the Riviera, at least it's trying to do something that a lot of other scents haven't attempted. And I think, well, clearly, I'm still a little bit kind of taken aback by this thing of the breeze being carried by the fig leaves. It's obvious, it stayed with me, and it's obviously stayed with him. But whether this is something I would want to wear, I think I would just want it to start becoming a bit more than just this fig rose interplay. Quick Amouage trademark, says Rachel. I can't imagine Amouage having a perfume called Figurative. I don't know. Figment. Oh, Renaud, see what you've done now. Figment, that's a good one as well. Good one. What else could we have? Fiction. No, anyway. Right. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the laugh. If you smell this, come back and leave a comment on the video. Perfume names derived from posh holiday places are a bit overdone, says Gavin. You're not wrong. You mean fig and mint? Oh, fig mint. Fig mint. Should I just sort of sit here for a couple of minutes and watch you rattle off all these fig names? Okay, thank you very much for watching. And if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, because that helps on YouTube. Royal Fig by Creed. Somebody had to bring the tone down. Anyway, please stay tuned to social media for details of more videos heading for Way. But until now, be good, and I will see you soon. Bye.